Hi, 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 hi. Hi, hi, huh? Got madness. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the new Wednesday Warzone, the last one for January 2020. And yes, this is Paolo from the Garrison Archangel team, producer, and the usual host of Wednesday Warzone for about 2 years now. So I know we had a first episode of Wednesday Warzone, but I'd like to wish everyone a happy new year. I know 2 weeks have passed, and boy, what a crazy 2 weeks it's been. Uh, I didn't actually tell. I told everyone in Discord, but we didn't actually announce this on our YouTube and Facebook pages. But volcano that's very near to where we work, like less than 100 kilometers away, erupted. So there was ash everywhere, and we actually held off one of our Wednesday war zones. I think 2 weeks ago because it was like just a day or two after the actual eruption. So there was ash fall everywhere, and I know there are lots of things happening all over the world right now. But despite that, I don't want to go into detail about that. The volcano thing was the closest thing to like preventing us from going anywhere because of the ash fall. But despite that, we'll have a new like Wednesday Warzone today, and despite that, we actually updated quite a lot of things in the past 2 weeks. But you have to be preview on our preview build to really appreciate the new stuff we put in because a lot of it's very experimental and really a dramatic departure from the game. Now, if you've been observing this particular mech that has been rotating over and over, you'll notice that the weapon on its back is actually the Balang Aral. Um, Actually, it's like a not final. It's like a mechanical experiment of the Balang Aral because it also the balang arrow being the nuke weapon because it also behaves differently now. So I guess I'll show it. That's one of our many updates. Oh, sorry, I messed with the screen there. Okay, so that's one of our many updates. We wanted to test weapons like dramatically different functionalities. So in the case of the balang arrow, which is our nuke weapon, we actually changed how it fired. So it's possibly broken, possibly overpowered, but that's why it's in preview now. We want people to test it. Uh, Also, speaking of tests, we'll have another collaboration tournament with our new hosts, Spawn Point Lounge, once again in Quezon City, along Katipunan Avenue. Correct? Yeah, is that Katipunan? Yeah, it's Katipunan Avenue. So that's this February 22. It's in conjunction with an anime um, fighting game tournament. So we'll be there. Once again, we'll be there just to play test along with actual players. So as you can see, the nuke now fires like straight towards the target, like relatively straight. It's no longer very upward and very slow. So it's it's potentially busted because you can do this and then yeah, just fire it in the enemy's face. So yeah. See that's really powerful, right? But at the same time, it is 2,000 weight. So of course, on top of that, the people have pointed out that we have to change the model a bit. Yeah, we will try to change that. But there you go. Oh, why is he flying towards me? What happened, buddy? You're supposed to be a dummy. Also, did you notice anything different about this garage mode? If you look at the upper right part of the screen, it's actually tracking your movement. So, boost, attack with Lawbringer, attack with my Emancipator. Yeah. So, it's like in fighting games when you go into training mode, it tracks your inputs. The thing here to note is we actually separated button presses from the actual commands being carried out. For example, you'll notice W right. That means I press the right weapon button, and then 0 frames after that, the Lawbringer shotgun went into effect. So yeah, so you can see those frame differences. Um, so yeah, I'm just studying it. I'm actually making sure it's correct. So we'll basically that's what the frames are for, and also what the commands mean in case people get confused. We want to go into a shorthand for like button presses, maybe linked to our keyboard presses. But for now, this is a more or less it's more to test when certain things don't work. We actually made this when certain players reported that certain weapons didn't work. Like the bug, if I remember correctly, was after boosting you couldn't cancel out or something. And I decided let's make this to like debug. But it's also good for like practice, so you can tell how fast certain things kick in after a dodge. So yeah, so we hope you guys love the functionality. Just more stuff to make make playing the game more fun, more responsive, so that you can like practice for tournaments or whatever. And yeah, that one and the nuke. And sorry, this is the biggest thing. I should have started with this. It's just that in the opening screen, this particular unit came up, so I had to talk about it. We changed how movement in general works. You're actually able to move around faster compared to before. But at the same time, we actually for the higher end builds, they might not feel as much of a boost, or they might actually feel a reduction in movement speed. Because what we did was we lessened the gap between the differences between the differences in movement speed between different speed stat the max. So Before you'd have a wider difference in terms of one guy would really move really slowly and you'd really feel it, and one guy would be really really fast compared to that guy. Now they're a bit the differences are a bit less. Of course, if you're overweight, there's nothing we can do about that. The penalties will still kick in, and they'll kick in pretty hard. But as a result, we also um, you'll find that the boost movement is also very fast and very useful, especially with the assault drive mechanic. Right now, assault drive only works with weapons that make you step. So with melee weapons that make you step or dash towards the enemy. So guns they don't really get a buff from this. But of course, we're going to experiment with that. Some people wanted like an assault, like a post dodge, some kind of bonus for range weapons. We're also gonna explore that. Um, so on top of the boost and normal movement speed being faster, because we want people to use their positioning more so than just dodging. We actually lessened the formula for dodging. So in general, people will, when they dodge, it won't be as far as before. But of course, dodge still has the benefit of being able to cancel your attacks. So I can, right before firing, I can just cancel it. And it also adds a invincibility frame. So you can actually dodge into attacks to avoid getting damaged. Just time it right. We actually made the invincibility frames for it uh, larger as a result. But at the same time, there are huge penalties for like just spamming dodge. Like if you use it to cancel, it's actually more expensive than just dodging. Like this is just dodging. This is canceling. It's actually a bigger cost. Of course, if you get damaged on top of that, there's an even bigger cost to canceling out. And the mobility of your actual distance, the distance you dash, is actually is also um, penalized for each iteration of like cancel. For example, this is how far I dodge from just neutral. Neutral means I'm just walking around. I'm not attacking. I'm not hurt. I'm not doing anything. This is the dodge distance from me canceling. So it might not seem much. So let's try that again. So there you go. It's actually much smaller compared to this. That was my normal dodge. That was without canceling. And it's also because we find that giving you invincibility while canceling is already strong. So giving you also that distance is it's too much. So speed builds have more dodges, and it just makes them really strong, especially when we changed how boost pauses work and how certain weapons work. Speed builds could really overwhelm enemies just by their sheer mobility and their sheer number of dodges. So now we made the dodges more of a utility and a defensive thing rather than just you can position with it. Sure, you can still do that, but it's expensive. We want people to just boost more and just walk around more and just be smarter overall about using their boost. Of course, the old technique of dodging and then holding boost still works. So speed builds can still use that to reposition. So it's still a powerful technique. But we changed how boost pauses also work. So it won't be as unfair as it was before, basically. So now we hope this makes the game more dynamic. We also buffed a lot of the melee weapons that didn't have a lot of um, they didn't have a lot of powerful abilities like the axe scythe. Um, its basic ability was to transform into a scythe and transform into an axe form, but and they had two different like play styles. So for the axe form, we wanted it to be fast and approach the enemy quickly and like hit them with many rapid attacks. And the scythe was supposed to be more powerful and have more heavy attacks and have a wider range of attacks uh, compared to the archangel, because the advantage of that is basically they're able to swing and their hitbox would be far away, but they won't have a lot of mobility. So the axe is more risky, but at least you're approaching the opponent, and the scythe was supposed to be like for just hitting them from a safe distance. But of course, with that, it wasn't too strong. Even data-wise, we haven't had a scythe user win a tournament like... When was the last time? I think Leak Slicer was the last time we had a scythe user. So I'll just show that. I'm sorry, I'm gonna ruin this. So actually, I don't know if I can demonstrate it comparatively in this video. What we raised was the damage of the scythe. Basically, we just raised damage. So for the scythe and the axe, you should hit harder now. It's 750 weight, but it hits harder in general compared to an E-Tac that's unextended. So you can try that out in the preview build. So let's try it. This has a melee damage mod of 102. Yeah, it won't be too different from the base. So we also changed up how certain movements work. So that's the axe forward, axe side. That's a transform. Okay. So that's the axe. Those are all the axe moves. So this is axe neutral. As you can see, it's very fast. These are the scythe back. The scythe back is like that. Let me transform it again. Okay. Scythe sides. As you can see, that's actually a really good attack if you can like stun lock the enemy and keep them in front of you. And that's one of my favorite scythe attacks. We basically raised the damage of all of that so that the scythe damages would be way more devastating than an axe. So axe would be like, see, the enemy isn't flinching until the third hit, but I'm like landing a lot of hits and I'm like moving all over the place. So, and then I can shift to the scythe. Yeah, so there, that's the idea basically. So we'll still modify that. Like I said, January will be our like final adjustments for weapons. And I'm bringing this up because we're going to go to the next part. But before I go to the next part, I'm sorry. There's another weapon I want to show, and that's the Mugen Zakura. The Mugen Zakura has been one of our favorite weapons because it's just cool and because basically we're weebs. And then everyone goes, Paolo, or speak for yourself. So anyway, so the Mugen Zakura is one of our favorite weapons, but in practice, we do see that its greatest flaw is its lack of defensive capabilities. The closest it has to a defensive capability is the level 1. So we also increased the damage of the Mugen Zakura overall, but the damage base is on armor. So the enemy may not flinch with it, but you can see the damage is like 1000 off, already almost 1000 from the second hit. And that's base. That's like 100% MDM, more or less, with 2% additional. That's really strong. E-Tac needs to be extended to reach that kind of damage or hit 3 times. So as you can see, that was 900. So there. And we all know that move. But like I said, before you can get the levels, the Mugen Zakura suffers from not having a lot of defensive utility. So we decided to amp up its offensive capabilities. It's one of the few melee weapons with really high armor compared to armor to stability ratio is really high. So enemies may not flinch, but they'll be taking like 450 damage. So as you can see there. In training mode also, did you notice that the enemy has its stability bar and boost bar visible? You can also try it out with a live enemy, and the enemy, you'll see the enemy's boost usage. You can also find inspiration from fighting the AI. You can also see how many attacks hit when fighting certain armor types. So it's one of those things you might want to test out. Oh, great. Rude boy. So really katana fights. So as you can see, that was the clash system taking effect. Oh, wow. Also, another thing we changed is we removed the what do you call this? The kind of pause between when you use the level 2 or the level 3 of the Mugen Zakura. You charge forward, right? so I died. Anyway, you charge forward, right? Normally in the old behavior, you charge forward, and then it kind of waits for a moment. You stick to the opponent, and it kind of waits before you do the slash. There's a kind of startup. So we remove that, and it's hard to demonstrate because this guy's like beating my ass. Oh wait, I shouldn't say that. Anyway, so as you can see, the attack is now instantaneous. As soon as I kind of see the enemy in my vicinity, I'll immediately perform the slash. We want to make the Mugen Sakura level 2s and level 3s way more lethal than they were before. Because before, people would just use the level 1s and level 4 because those were the ones with utility. So level 2 and level 3 once again have a higher like offensive capability, because once you see that enemy charging, you want to get out of his way, because the moment he touches you, that slash will occur instantly. So just like that. So yeah, that's one of the few things we well, it's not just one, it's several. So that's a few of the changes we did for the Mugen Sakura. And to be fair, the enemy was also using the Mugen Sakura against me. And to be honest, I haven't practiced with it. I do want to practice more with it because the level 2 and level 3 look really cool. Yeah, so we hope you guys we hope you guys enjoy that change. I know there are people on preview right now testing it. So there, other weapons we changed. The drill, but it was only one of the attacks. We also changed up the Strelka. Let me get that pistol. Okay. We changed up the Strelka on. Well, I'm using the alternate Strelka, the ultimate the Maaga ultimate Strelka, which is the Kamao, but stat wise they're the same. So everyone knows the Strelka, but not a lot of people use the the what do you call this, the unprimed form, because it used to be these attacks won't reach the enemy. So what we did was kind of extend the range. So now you have the attacks will more or less hit basically, because we noticed it was only the uppercut attack that was going forward, and everything else had such short range. So now they're really quick and they have some reach. So you won't be out of options unprimed, and you will still be a threat unprimed, more or less. Things we're looking forward to kind of change as well with the Strelka. There are people saying that it needs more damage. Sure, I think for Prime, that's fair. But well, we'll see. We'll see, because I think it's fair. Their assessment of the damage for what it is fair, but at the same time, the weight. If I remember correctly, it's 1,000. If it's 1,000, the damage dealt is the same as it's the same as an E-Tac extended actually. It's just that the E-Tac, see, it's actually lighter than an E-Tac. So, but people are saying, and if you see the base attack values, they're actually on par with an extended E-Tac. But people are saying that yes, because it cancels out when you whiff. It's pretty punishing. We'll see. We'll see if we can make it match at least like the heavy weights. But for 750 weight, don't expect a lot. So I'm just saying. Anyway, yeah, that's it for the melee weapons. I think we did other things. Let's see. Before I move on to the next part, I'm gonna read up on what you guys are asking. So first, I love the nuke changes so much. Yeah, the nuke damage needs to be lowered. It hits really reliably. Just use it properly. It hits reliably. Balance feedback. Monday. That was quite a list. I'll have to go back over them again. I might have missed some. In fact, I'm missing some of our changes over the past week, because there was really a lot. Any nerfs to high-end things. Reload speed buff. Feels like boosting. We'll see about boosting being sped up. One of my worries is it might make high-speed builds too crazy because they already boost as their primary dodge method to save on boost also. Now, speaking of running, did you guys fix that flight mode? Yes, we have fixes. We haven't updated preview yet with the fixes, but we do have. There was a bug regarding cruise flight that made it really unfair. We're handling that before the actual tournament because you could just cruise fly away from the enemy. If you guys want to know what cruise flight is, on Discord they call it the R boost. I'll just demonstrate it. The R we call it. We showed it for in previous videos. Basically, cruise flight. Let's see if I can do it. No, that's not it. Okay. Oh. Hmm. Hey, that's something new. Okay, for some reason I have that move. I can't seem to do it on controller. Why is that? Anyway, I'll try doing it on the I'll try doing it on the keyboard. Okay. Jeez. I'm on internal slow-mo mode. Okay. R. Jeez, hold on. Sorry, I'm just encountering these changes to the controller. Seems to be bugged. I'll see about that. I'll check that later. Okay. So, okay, things seem to be normal. You apparently on the keyboard you hold R, and this is cruise flight. We introduced this for missions mode so that you can cross large maps easily without spending boost. To the unfair thing is unlock you can just cruise flight around, so apparently you can't be caught doing this. But we did a bunch of fixes to it. One of which is even if you're not locked, as long as you enter the vicinity of an enemy, you will leave the mode. So if an enemy is nearby, it'll turn off. And you can't enter the mode unless you have full boost. So, and you have to another one is you have to commit to the full charge before you enter the mode. So it has an extended charge up time. So as you can see there, as soon as I approach the enemy, even if I'm not locked, it turns off. So that's one of the changes and fixes we did to it. And so if I'm in the air and I have reduced boost, I can't enter the mode. And yeah, so that's one of the fixes we did. But of course, the functionality remains the same, more or less. It puts you in vulnerability. So any stray hit with stability damage, no matter how low, will probably flinch you out. In attacks, sorry, you can't attack. You have to cancel out or turn off the mode, which has some recovery. That's one of the few things we did to fix it. Desert Hawk. Any melee weapon should have a low base damage. Same principle applied to MBS melee. I'm pointing to Blue Axe F melee and E-Tac F melee. But those attacks are pretty slow. In the case of Blue Axe, the actual range of the weapon extending from your hitbox is pretty small. So that's why people prefer the E-Tac. Data-wise, you don't see a lot of blue users. Like I said, the last one I can think of is Leak Slicer, and he's from last year, 2 years ago. So yeah, Mugen is nasty looking, good considering no defense. Yeah, we moved it to offense. So next, I don't know, avoid spamming level 1s. Level 1 isn't spammable. You have to hit an attack with it. An attack that doesn't have any defensive properties. Yeah. Exactly. How are you going to spam level 1 if you're going to recharge it with another hit? Nice. The delay on level 2 and level 3 hits was really easy to punish. Exactly. Made them useless. But now, level 2s and 3s, as soon as you see that charge, you have a very limited window. You either have to punish him before he reaches you, or you have to get out of the way as soon as possible, or else. So we wanted that for the Mugen. Really powerful offense. Uh, since it has no defense, basically its only defense is like level 1 and level 4, so that's it. Attack to level 1 speed. Yeah, you still have to hit with the basic attack. The basic attack doesn't have defensive, doesn't have hyper armor, doesn't have iframe, so not sure about the Mugen Zakura. I'm talking about the attack to level 1. Anyway, they're discussing it's funny, in the chat right now people are discussing the what do you call this, the mechanics and mechanics buffs and nerfs and suggesting. So I'm just reading that. Yeah, Nico's able to reliably parry. Gosh, that's amazing. I have to admit, level 1 has almost like zero startup. It's like on press, if you're not flinched, if you're not in the middle of an animation, it'll just come out. So if someone can reliably parry that, that's amazing. Star Gauntlet forward chases very well. Strelka is 750. You have the risk of needing to reload after every hit will fail. That's true. That's why I'm considering the armor buff. But like I said, just so you guys know, at 750 weight, its primed mode, which you can activate at any time, is already on par with an E-Pack, and an E-Pack is 1000 weight. So just so you know about before we buff the strength, the armor damage. Be melee chop. What was that pulse thing you just did? That's debugging stuff. I can't talk about it. It's debugging stuff. It's not for actual game stuff. Remember that burst mechanic we had back then? We kind of have something like that just to test certain things. Arena flight size maps, honestly. You can hit with Star Gauntlet. So people are talking. People are arguing about weapons in the chat. Try the Y button. I just did. It did that weird punch thing. Anyway, that was one of our devs talking. So that was it for YouTube chat. People are like, discussing and arguing about nerfs and buffs. So there. Another day. So another. Okay. No. Any new things on the Discord chat? Open from in water's fine. Talon Grunt represent. Anyway, seems like there's nothing in Discord. Everyone on Discord is probably on the YouTube chat. Okay, so I'm checking the other channels. Lol. Oops, I said lol. Ooh. I'm checking the other channels. Anyway, yeah. Okay, so I think I've caught up with what you guys have been talking about so far. So now it's just two players arguing about mechanics. So now I'll move on to a really big update. But I'm thinking back on showing it because I did make a promise that I want to reserve the ending, the ending or the story of the remaining two routes for the players. Basically, I don't want to spoil it because we revealed the ships, we revealed the storyline of Sunfield and well, actually, we didn't reveal the storyline of Sunfield and the Sunfield and Ducaron. So we showed off a lot of stuff before you guys got to experience it for yourselves. So I feel kind of bad because I made that promise and I can't show you guys, but I can give you guys a teaser of what's to come. And we added a lot of new stuff the past weeks. In fact, the separatists and the Imperial Legion missions should be live by next month already, and that means, at least for now, we've achieved our goal of completing all 4 routes for the main mission mode. And I'll just say that the last missions of both Imperial Legion and the Separatist route will be something you guys haven't experienced yet. It's the first. They're going to be the first of their kind for Garrison Archangel, and it'll be something that people have requested. We also, and in preparation for that, we also added new missions because I realized that the storyline of what will be encountered in the Imperial Legion and the Separatists storyline, they may see it may seem too abrupt regarding the escalation of events from the existing Dukeron and Sunfield Frontier storyline, the missions. If you've been following the story of Sunfield Frontier and the Dukeron, you may think the story was just like, oh, we blew up some bases and then we have to fight them in space. So we actually added like a transition mission between the first 2 missions and the final mission, and it ties in with the new events of the Imperial Legion and the Separatists. So I'm really trying hard not to spoil, but let's just say there are basically going to be new missions, and for each main route, basically you have to clear 4 missions, and you have to actually reach Paragon before you get the final mission. And reaching Paragon turns the opposing faction into your nemesis. You have no chance of like getting them back on your good side. I'm thinking of it, given the systems. I don't think there is a way other than cheating to get a nemesis back in your good graces. It's just impossible. So you're basically locked into that faction's storyline once you get into Paragon. And in Paragon, you have a final mission you have to clear. And for the Dukeron and Sunfield Frontier, it's those final missions where you fight their flagships. And doing so basically defeats the other side. So that's already in our build. Like, you don't even need to go into preview. You can play the final missions of those 2 factions. So what we did was we added 2 transition missions, and we added new emails. Actually, the emails for all 4 main factions are done, and they will like provide the narrative of what's going on. There will be an explanation of certain events. The Imperial Legion and the Separatists will particularly deal with the faction you encounter if you achieve the neutral ending, wherein you didn't pick any of the major 4. So that's as much of a clue you guys will get from me. But how it'll appear, how it'll come out, how it'll manifest, I want to keep that a surprise. But I want to show a teaser. I want to show a teaser. But I won't play this mission till the end. So anyway, that's that. Oh wait, this is the sorry, I'm playing the Dukeron mission. So this is the 3rd mission of the Dukeron storyline. So it takes place in this crater. I wonder why. So I'll just end it there. Look at the number of enemies. That's actually a bug. If you guys are encountering like enemies being spawned, too much enemies being spawned, please do tell us. We'll try to fix that. So we received reports. Audacious Anarchy. So I skipped that. But if people probably froze that frame, they'll probably know what's up. So you guys are going to experience this soon. Everyone who has Garrison Archangel already. Next month, this will come live. And next month, hopefully, we'll have a little surprise for everyone. Especially regarding the campaign mode. And in general, for people who don't have Garrison Archangel yet. So the 3rd mission of the Separatists takes place in this crater, but Something's different. I wonder why. So they actually have a different set of objectives compared to the Dukeron, who just want to destroy everything in this crater. So there's also that, and I'll just that'll be your teaser for today. I think people who are observant will see that there is something in the background there, and that will be important in the final missions of the Separatists and the Imperial Legion. So we hope you guys are looking forward to that. It'll actually be different from a ship battle. This will be the first mission of its kind. That's all I can say. And it'll be. I've played it. I'm actually excited. Just need some refinements. I want. One of the things I personally want is a multiplayer mode where you guys take on the ships and take on the final missions of the Separatists and the Imperial Legion. It's that hype basically. So there's that. So that's it. That's it for this update. It's a major update, admittedly, but I have to keep my mouth shut as much as possible. But I think people have enough ideas. People who have played preview have stuck with us since the beginning. They probably know what's going on. It's just that we don't have any footage out there of what it actually how that thing will manifest. So there's that. Canisters, don't spoil. And the threat is a good idea. Spaghetti Paragon, alternate mission, and text for neutral ending where you fake your death and live as a crime lord or win and abuse your hero position. The assets look nice. Canisters. Any updates on the Piedrana mission? Yes, I just discussed. Lion staggered in. Oh, I see. Gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, this one's trolling. We will probably not. We'll see if we can put it in the game, but it's gonna be it'll shake a lot of things up. So I have to stagger first. No, I can't. Not with the katana. So I have to use the E-Tech. No. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's cool. So wait. No, the people can't see that. It's anyway. Let's do that again slowly, okay? So you guys should look at my upper right thing. So 1, 2, 3. I didn't input anything, but I hit the enemy 3 times. So 1, 2, 3, and that's cool. So basically, it's a 1-button combo, but the enemy has to be staggered. The proper term for it is it's supposedly a grab. So if the enemy's blocking, although that's a feature we probably need to do, like force an enemy to block. But blocking isn't universal. Ugh, so hard. Anyway, let's try it with this. We were testing like grabs and whatnot, so that's probably why the cruise flight was turned off. So that's it. Punch, punch, punch. So for now the grab is like an auto 3 hits. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Anyway, yeah, that was the grab. It's something experimental. We'll see. People were excited when we brought it up. But it'll shake up a lot of things. It'll take some time before it can materialize for public play. We'll probably include it if we find that it's okay. But that flinch requirement is pretty tough, admittedly. Not many people, because in normal play you can't even see the enemy's stability, so gauging when they're flinched. If it were me, I would allow grabs to hit, but they should have such a long recovery, so you can't just move after. Because this is pretty safe, to be honest. Just that's safe. So that's cool. I like that. But I have to flinch. It's so weird. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It'll require a lot of new animations too. For now, I think the placeholder was 3 neutral attacks. So anyway, it's not visually impressive. Maybe if you are watching this with no sounds, you won't know what's going on. So there's that. Any plans for weapon adjustments on missions mode? Like what? Rather than watching a unit spin, put the AI on infinite fight for background on stream. Wrap up Q&A. Showing off the grab thing. Yeah, exactly. Gimmick. Wow, the grab doesn't drain any stability either. Yeah, it doesn't. Like I said, it's just for testing. It's not a what you call this a going to be in the game for sure 100%. The burst mechanic back then was like that, but we had to remove it because it just became silly when you actually put it into practice. Enemies would just bounce each other off each other, just bounce. So yeah, that's it. That's it for the updates on our end for Wednesday Warzone. I'd like to keep the final mission secret, but I'll just say we just need some internal testing. Then we'll release it maybe on preview next month. Hopefully, it'll be out for public. So someone suggested that we just put a fight up, and I'm not sure who's fighting. Oh, two, two of the exact same. All right, so I'll just read the Q&A stuff. Spaghetti Paragon. Oh, no new Q&A stuff. Sad. Okay. So yeah, and to recap, basically we changed up the mobility of the base mobility of the game, so everyone walks around faster and boosts around faster compared to before. But on the higher end speed builds, they probably feel it less or might even feel reduced. We lessen the dodge distances, especially if you cancel. The dodge distance is a lot less. Um, we also upgraded a lot of melee weapons, and I know people have asked this before. They wanted more powerful to power up the ranged weapons because assault drive really allows melee to catch up with everything. I'm more of the opinion that we'll probably have something similar to assault drive for certain weapons because without assault drive, I find that ranged weapons still have their place, but of course you can't run pure range as effectively now because of assault drive. I'll agree. I'll agree on that. Unless you do that hit and then run using cruise flight build, sure. We will try to make something similar to that. And of course, if that doesn't work, we can always up the projectile speeds. We can always up damages. There's still a lot of things we can do. And yeah, that's that. For now, we just want to test the melee updates first and the speed updates to see if there's any major problems. And we want to make this basically we just want to make this change the new normal. So we might, if there are no problems that persist, we might make this the public build by the end of January, and hopefully we'll also release the final missions for Piedrana and Imperial Legion by then, before February kicks in. And yeah, I know there will be people who will be hyped about it. And I assure you guys the surprise will be worth it. It's just that we still have a lot of things to check and fix, and that's why we'll be releasing it first for preview, so that people who are like on our Discord and really want to play the game, even if it's kind of janky in preview build, because it's really experimental. Because when we have an idea, we just put it in preview build for stress testing. For people who like that, we will release the Imperial Legion and Piedrana Separatists finale by next month. So yeah, look forward to that. Look forward to that final mission, and I know people will make gifs of it and will start bragging about the endings. I know when we released the 50 turn neutral ending, people were already talking about the ending and bragging about it. And of course, we changed up a lot of things. With the changes we're doing for certain missions, older missions might also be affected. So let me rematch. There's not much happening on screen. So there are new things we introduced in the missions to come that will allow us to change up older missions. One of the things, one of the things in the story missions are enemies that allies that suddenly change sides. So there's a lot of things we can do with that in the future. We might change older missions, older Paragon missions for the manufacturers in particular, to kind of like suit that. There are enemies in the new missions. There are enemies that change behaviors after you reduce them to certain life points, and they could have several phases, so to say. So there's that also, and Paragon missions might be updated with those new features. So there's a lot of exciting stuff coming up. That's all we'll say. With our single player over, we can also turn our focus to other things. I know people have been clamoring for network and multiplayer stuff. After we fix after we fix and finish the campaign, we can go back to that and do more general like fixes to the game, more general updates, and yeah. So we did promise that we'll get back to that. Hopefully by February, all of this is ironed up, and then we'll go back to that, make at least fix the bugs. And sometimes there are animations that don't kick in, or there are animations that don't reflect properly. We'll try to at least fix those. We know there are new weapons that haven't been integrated for the multiplayer system too. We'll try to integrate those too. So the following months will be really more like polishing the game. We'll also add some stuff. That level for me, that level thing needs more stuff linked to it. So we'll have stuff for that. So uh what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that basically the end of early access is in sight. 3 months, maybe. Yeah, depends on how long. So it's been a long journey. It's been a long journey, and we're already at this point. Our goals are about to be met. Just multiplayer, um, maybe final like balance fixes. Nah, yeah, multiplayer balance fixes. Maybe the camera. We'll be revisiting a lot of things. We hope you guys continue to support us, especially with bug reports, because we're like what, 4-man team right now. We're a 4-man team. We can't catch everything. We can't do bug fixing while making epic final battles and stuff, and doing stupid like things for the future, like uh, non-game related things. Well, non in-game related things, but for Garrison Archangel stuff in the future. I almost slipped there, so I better not talk about that anymore. Anyway, yeah, let's just say there are lots of fun things coming up. It's a new year. Um, yeah, so Garrison Archangel single player next month. We hope you guys enjoy it. Oh wow, the grab doesn't drain. Okay, old new model returning as kamikaze weapon. We'll see about that, because if we add a new weapon, we have to create upgrades for it for missions mode. So we'll see about adding that. Range is plenty nasty right now, with the exception of manual reload falling behind a bit due to needing to stop. Increasing projectile speed and damage of Vajran burst rifle would be a good idea, maybe. I don't know about increasing the speed of burst rifle. I think it's already really good. I do agree. Maybe burst rifle recovery just a little bit. So Vajra, allies that change sides, interesting. Still planning to add more story missions to other factions? Good question. Yeah, we can probably do some stuff like that. Uh, we certainly have the tools to do it. We'll see about adding more. I do know there are lots of emails that use the generic messages right now. We'll be adding more of that. And like I said, I promised a like stuff in the codex that you can collect. That's still on the table. You can also expect that in the future. One of the things we also might add, though I can't it's not 100%. People have been asking for like selecting enemy ghosts to duel. I do want to add that too. Just thinking about the what do you call this, the the mechanics, the resources, the systems, basically how you go into the duel, how you select your enemy and then duel your enemy in missions mode. What kind of menu would it look like? If it's in codex, is the codex linked only to missions mode? Can you access that dual screen outside? So it's still like that right now, so there's that. But I will look into it and try to get that into. So there's that. And it's also nice. I see some people getting into the game, and I would say everyone who's in the game right now, everyone who bought the game, everyone who's in our Discord, uh, you guys are really helping us out, and you guys are getting, you guys are getting what you want basically, because a lot of these changes were from suggestions and people in Discord, because because we were saying that sorry, we would have problems with balance, and people would come in and say these weapons suck, they should be better, and there'd be arguments. Right now, just now, earlier, there were people arguing their case in the chat. So I'll just say that people who bought the game right now and really got into Garrison Archangel before full release, you guys have shaped this game as much as, well, you guys have shaped this game as much as we have, because we apply the changes, but of course we also listen to what you guys have to say. And post release there'll be less of that, so I'd like to thank you guys. You guys are like helping us. Before this game isn't even like complete yet released, and you've already helped us make it, and I'd like to thank everyone. It goes back to that speech earlier I said about how I'm surprised the game's already, the goals we set out to do, they're already there. I'll just say this game provides a lot of experiences, and we work to try and get as much of those experiences in the game as much as possible. I know multiplayer isn't up to scratch yet, but we'll try to fix that. Okay, after we're done with single player mode, and add a lot of stuff to other existing modes like arcade and horde. We're actually gonna add some stuff there. We'll give multiplayer another go, but like I said, we can't. And I've had this discussion like in the Steam discussion forums and on Discord. Right now, we can't do servers. We can't do dedicated servers. Our original idea of an online, like an MMO kind of mechanic, we're not doing that anymore. Our goal was to simply make like a mech game you can experience on your own with friends on the couch, and that's what we've done so far. All we're trying to do is like complete those features, make it so that it's an enjoyable experience. It's not just like, yeah, we have multiplayer, but it sucks. So Steam Remote Play helped us out in that regard. There are people playing like remote play, and one of our most active Discord players like kicks everyone's ass, and we actually take him seriously um, in terms of the feedback he has, especially because the feedback is something we argue and like discuss about. Like we actually go about it like step by step, like what is it exactly about this that's wrong. Then we find out the core of the issue is actually cruise flight. Doesn't that mean like cruise flight, if an enemy doesn't have your specialized build, they can't catch this cruise flight build even before. So it's thanks to those kind of heated discussions that we're able to find problems and like figure out exactly what's wrong. And I appreciate everyone who stuck with us to do that. You know, I mean, it may sound, we may get some hurt feelings, but you know, of course, at the end of the day, it's to make the game better. And I'd like to like really thank everyone, you know, everyone who stuck with us that this far. Oh, by the way, you may have noticed if you play the game, especially single player mode, there are voices of various amateur voice actors, including myself. Those voice actors, those voices were actually from our community and from people who just volunteered to add their voices to the game. And we would like, if you guys would like to send us voice clips of one-liners before you enter the fight or when you get killed, we will add that to the game. We actually did that for a bunch of people, lots of them actually. I've lost count. We also had a female voice actress help us out, and it's pretty cool. The game has a lot of different people. I struggle to like, I struggle to think who was that? Who was this particular guy? And then I realize it's one of our Discord regulars. So we have something ongoing. You can look at the link below or this YouTube video. You can see it. Well, I'm going to add fighting. This might go on for a while again. It's been an hour though. I'll end this soon. So let's end it with a cool fight. Okay, so anyway, going back, basically what this rambling is going into is we are accepting people who just want to send their voice clips. So the voice clips can be like you taunting the player, because the voice clips we add in the game are actually when a new wave spawns, they comment on the player like, "Oh my gosh, it's an archangel! Let's kill it right now." Okay, whatever. So there's stuff like that, and they also have a one-liner when they're killed, or have a funny like death rattle, like "Ugh," like that. So we actually accept both of those types, and we will add them to the game. We put them in horde mode. We put them in single-player campaign. So it's one way to leave your mark on the game. Oh my gosh, Dominus is busted. Oh, it's a that's I remember this build. Okay, that's a strength build. Oh jeez, yeah, that would hurt. Just get hit by a Dominus once or twice, die. Anyway, yeah, just send us your voice clips and we'll add them to the game. We've done it. We've done it lots. We've done it lots of times in the past, and who knows? Actually, I did put a voice prompt, if I remember correctly. It's in the Steam discussions page. I might make more specific voice prompts, but of course, it's voluntary. What we'll do is we'll add you to the credits. Like our voice actors list is quite extensive because there's all these people who just sent us their voice acting. They're like one-off one-liners and stuff. So of course, this is all volunteer stuff, but I find it's a nice way to kind of like, if you supported the game, we just want you to be like, this guy supported the game, and then his voice is in the game. So, or his or her voice is in the game. Maybe one day, if you might want it to be linked to a character, because we do have contests from time to time. Which reminds me, we haven't had an online contest in a while. Single player campaign is really taking a lot out of us. We after this we might have space for one more like contest before, like an online, maybe a mecha AI contest. I think people like those, so we can probably have one more of those, and maybe another fashion fight, and then before the actual release. But of course, a fashion fight, we held it like September, or was it May? September was the weapons design contest. We haven't had a weapons design contest. The fashion fight was in May, if I remember correctly. So we can probably have another fashion fight, maybe post release when we have lots of people in the game. Yeah, that might be cool. So yeah, so a voice and then a mech you submitted. We might do that too if you want. So There, that's it. Just check the links below. We have the link below for the how to send us your voice clips, and we'll add that to the game. Nice mode buff ups. Yeah, you can just reuse the old model and everything about the free kamikaze bomb, and then for mission rank ups, just but yeah, focus on mission for now. Oh yeah, you're right. Because we already have upgraded versions of the Balang Arrow. That's correct. Reset the arcade run records on codex. Would that be possible? Maybe we'll have a cheat. Nobody reported seeing a secret new preset yet. I actually encountered it. It had a weird one. Nice mode buff ups and online multiplayer improvements will still on the table. Yeah. Slight person. Wall speed. Oof, oh yes, weapon design. 5 to use PBR. I need to get around to recording my ghost lines soon. Yeah, if you guys like any of the ghosts in the game, maybe if you want to send specific voice packs for the ghosts. We left some of the ghosts like ambiguous, like we more described their history rather than the actual person behind the history of the unit rather than a description of the person. So if you guys took a shine to any of the ghosts, if you can send like voice clips linked to the ghosts, that might be cool too. We might also add that to the game. So we would appreciate it actually. Right now the ghosts just draw from the generic pool because usually they spawn in a squad. So hand shoulder railgun. Yeah, hand railgun. Am I banned to send mechs? Yeah, half of you even got another mech in the game. I mean, maybe sure if you win another tournament. I'm referring to this guy. He wins a local tournament. He might appear because he always appears for a tournament. So he might appear again. Maybe this time Miku will beat him because he did find a really strong strategy last time that we fixed. Even now, I'm a little skeptical if you can still cheese with cruise flight, but it's harder now, so you might get punished for trying to cheese with it. So anyway, yeah. I think that's it for Wednesday Warzone. It's already 11 where I am. It's already more than an hour. And I already made a bunch of speeches about how we're already nearing our end and how I'm thanking everyone. And I shilled for the voice clips. And of course, like I said, we will share it on our social media pages. We're going to have a tournament at the Spawn Point Lounge on February 22. We'll try to push our preview to public by first week of February, and then we'll use that. So I suggest you guys in preview test it out and report any problems you're seeing before we make these changes final. In particular, I want to get the assault drive in the game as soon as possible. We'll try to do some fixes. We'll try to do some buffs for the reloadable ranged weapons. And some of the other problem range weapons. We'll be reviewing that list of changes. The kamikaze weapon might become the new it might just become the old nuke, in that it was funny, but in actual use you can't use it properly. But of course we can always change that, and the new nuke became really powerful as a result. So that could also be the thing. It could go either way, basically. So we'll also try and see what we can do with that. So yeah, I think with that, take a break with that. Tying lines to ghosts. You should probably tie your female VA to those. Yeah, we'll see. I'll see if we can make specific lines for them. I do want a more different female VA. The lines we got so far from the community, it's nice and diverse. Different accents. I'd like it if people had different accents. Maybe even if they spoke in their own language, that would be cool. I wouldn't mind that at all. So just make sure they're not slurs or whatever, okay? Or hate speech stuff that gets us into trouble, basically. So that just make sure of that. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, looking forward to seeing you guys, Sim and Wall, in our coming tournament on February 22. Uh, Hopefully, without anything too busted, Sim win. Sim snags a win from Vol. And that's it. I think that's it. Okay. This was Wednesday Warzone. This was Paulor. I'd like to thank everyone who stuck around and really listened to all the stuff we had to say and really stuck around and helped us develop the game. If you're watching this and you haven't bought Garrison Archangel yet, I suggest you buy it. It's still in early access, but there's a lot of stuff already in it. The reviews already say that there's a lot of features. Um, you should try it. We have a single player mode. We have couch play. We have online multiplayer. You can use, if you're not pleased with the inbuilt like multiplayer systems. Admittedly, it's a work in progress. You can always use Steam Remote Play, and it works relatively well, especially if you're in the same country and if one of you has a really good connection at the very least. At least one of you. The host should at least have a good connection. It's pretty good. Personally speaking, as long as the guys in the same country, I'm able to play relatively well. So with another country, with people in other countries, if it's not a serious game, if it's not high level, if there's nothing at stake, it's okay. I guess. I played it with some of the players on Discord, so I think it's pretty good. It's good stuff. Of course, we'll return to fixing that next month, hopefully. Maybe March will be a dedicated like cleanup period for all of the remaining bugs and making the game really pretty before we go for full launch. So, yeah. After thanking you guys, yeah. So I hope you guys enjoy the changes you've seen so far. There's more to come. I'm telling you, next month will be pretty wild. Once you get to those final missions, you will see what I mean. So I hope you guys are looking forward to that. So with that, that's the end of Wednesday Warzone. On the behalf of the Garrison Archangel team, I'd like to thank you. Once again, this was Paolo, producer of the Garrison Archangel game. And this was Wednesday Warzone. Sara, bye bye.